I'll talk more about this later, but I do record my lectures, except when I forget, like I just did. That happens. But in general, I'm pretty good. It's my first class after summer. So I'm like out of the loop. I don't know what I'm doing up here. But I do record our lectures so you can watch them after class and kind of take it slower if you want to or not. If you miss a class, you can get caught up. I post my notes after class, so you'll have everything. Okay, the thing about the recording is it's just the screen, so whatever we see on here, obviously, and my voice. So boring, but good to have, I think. And so it's just something that I like to do. Now, yeah, we can talk about Zoom now. You can join live, but that's really boring for me. So you should feel bad if you're doing that. You should be coming to class with me because I have to come here. I'm probably having more fun than you in class, but not to brag or anything. But it's nice if you come. But if you can't make it, or you're sick, or your car broke down, or whatever, you can join on Zoom. Okay. So, with that said, I'm going to go back to my normal role because I always hide the Zoom link because otherwise I get these confused emails before class. Is this an online class? I signed up for an in-person class. What is going on here? But if you do want to join on Zoom, it's always in the same room. I teach all my classes in here like this. And so maybe don't come not during class time, but this is my Zoom room and that's where the Zoom happens. So now I'll unhide it now that you know what it is and it's not weird. Yeah. Okay. Well, usually I start with the course outline, but I guess we could start on Moodle. They're basically the same anyways. I keep heading over here to close the door, and that's what I'm going to do. Math for arts or business math? What did I say? Oh yeah. So after class, it takes some time because I have to download the video and post it and blah, 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 blah. But eventually I'll put it on YouTube. I'll try to be pretty quick, but and so this is the link to last term when I taught it, because our playlist is going to be empty, so wanted you to see what it looks like. Maybe. Hey. Maybe not. It doesn't want to go there. That's okay. Be sure to like and subscribe. No, you don't have to do that. You really don't have to do that. I'm not going to be a YouTube star anytime soon. Pretty boring videos. I have a lot of videos, a lot of content, none of it captivating at all, but that's okay. All right. Talked about Zoom. That's available to you. Okay. And so in general, I like to give you as many resources as possible, of course, so that you can succeed. Okay. Let's go back to the top here. Emily Link, so many E's, it's crazy. E-M-E-L-I-E-L-E-E. I know, it's nuts. Just Emily's fine. My maiden name was Gustafson, so Lee is a lot easier and a lot shorter email. So you're welcome. Myself. What I like to do is don't want to text you. I want you to text me if you have questions. So usually with math, especially, you're working and you're writing out a ton of work, and that's really hard to type up. And also sitting down to write an email. Now I'm old, so for me it's like, dear blah blah blah, please find the following attached, blah 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 blah. So maybe you're not as stressed out about writing an email as I am, but for me, texting is just a lot quicker, and you can kind of, as long as you've introduced yourself once, I'll save you in my phone, your first name, and then Math 111, so that I know which course you're in, and then we're off to the races. I know who you are, and you can just say, hey, I'm working on this problem. Where am I going wrong? And then you can send me a picture, and I can look at it and say, ooh, looks like here maybe, or something like that, right? Or I can work out some problems, send it back to you, and it's just, I find that it's quite a bit more efficient that way. You don't have to text me. You can email me as well. They go to the same place, my phone, so it doesn't matter to me. But this one feels less urgent to me. If I have a text kind of hanging around, I don't like to have notifications. So they kind of gross me out. So I like to deal with them as quickly as I can. So you can use that to your advantage. Yeah, use it to your advantage. Yeah.
I'm not gonna be mean and text at 1 a.m. But like, do you have a time frame?
No, because my ringer is never on. So don't worry about that. If I am busy, if it's during the day and I'm busy, I'll tell you, hey, I'm just doing something. I'll get back to you in an hour or two, and kind of let you know that it'll be a little bit. If I'm sleeping, God, you won't get a reply until the morning. But I do often find that articulating the problem, so just typing out the problem to me, often helps you solve the problem, right? It's like a weird thing where you have to think about, well, what is my problem, right? You have to tell, hey, I'm having trouble with this problem because of this. So usually what happens is I wake up in the morning, and I was gonna say feeling like P. Diddy, but doesn't work anymore. But so I wake up in the morning and I check my phone. It's just a series of messages, usually from one person, and it ends with, "I got it. I figured it out. Don't worry about it." I'm like, "You got it. Good job. Done." So so don't worry about disturbing me. I'm an adult. I can answer when it's appropriate, and so don't worry about me. Okay? Just if you have a question, just ask. And like I said, putting it out there usually helps. So keep that in mind, right? How would I phrase this question? Right? Any other questions about that? No? So you're welcome to email me if that feels more comfortable to you, right? My office is C104, which is in the C building, obviously, over there. It's a shared office. It's hard because the doors often close because the hallway is noisy, or we're blabbing in there. Don't want to disturb the hallway. But my desk is the first one in there, so I always say, if I'm in my office, it's my office hours, so you can stop by anytime. Okay? And same thing, if I'm busy, right? If I don't have time right then I'll just tell you. Okay? So just trust that I will tell you if I'm busy, and just bring it on. Okay? So for that reason, because I feel like I'm available to you pretty much all the time, I don't have set office hours because no one was showing up to them anyways. I know. Can you believe that? I don't blame them. I'm often on campus, okay, like a lot. This term I have Fridays off, so I probably won't be here on Fridays. Luxurious. But in general, I'm around all the time. So, office hours are by appointment, but by that I mean, you can text me and say, hey, Emily, are you on campus? I can say, yeah, I am. Come on over. Right, so it doesn't have to be an appointment, just kind of let me know you're coming so that I can be there. Okay? You can text or email me to set up an appointment, like I said, just kind of, hey, are you around? I don't want to walk all the way to the C building if you're not going to be there. And I can do on Zoom most of the time. Okay? And so if you're not on campus, then we can hop on Zoom and chat that way too. But usually in person at that point is a little bit easier. And then, a lot of blanks here. Since it's math for arts, I thought you'd appreciate the difference between TBD and TBA. To be decided, to be announced. I don't have any control over this one. I do have control over these two. And I own them. But I haven't picked any dates yet. Oh, here's a question. So I found out that another section is doing 3 tests. I usually only do 2, but would you prefer to have 3? I'm seeing 1 no, 2 no's, 3 no. I'm getting a no vibe. 2 tests. We'll keep it as 2.
How was the free distribution?
We 20% assignments, 40% per test, so 20 each, and then 40% for the final exam. So that 40 would be split 3 ways instead of 2, I guess. Yeah. I know. So there's that. Think about it. Think about it. I'm getting a no vibe. But think about it. See what you feel like. Before I hop into the course outline, which is a lot of, the same as what we've talked about already, I do post my schedule just so you know how lucky I am. This is us down here. And for days, I was telling everyone, was like, oh, what's your schedule like? I'm like, oh, 4 to 6 on Mondays and Wednesdays. Well, it wasn't until today that I found out. No, I always knew, I guess, but Joya, my coworker, was like, aren't you 6 to 8? It's like, nah, it's 4 to 6. I had to look it up and then I was wrong. So, thanks. Good thing I hate it. I would have just been early, I guess. But good thing. So just kind of nice breezy schedule for me, right? I know. I mostly post this so you can kind of figure out when I'll definitely be on campus, like here for sure, right? Here for sure. I even say likely off campus on Fridays, just so you're not banking on me being here. If I'm in town, I'll be on campus, but sometimes I'm not. My husband lives in Victoria, so sometimes I go visit him. That's so nice to meet you. Yeah, probably before our class, but not like super early like today. It's here in the morning. Rude. Okay, we're talking about all the things. Great. I posted a link to the Success Center. Do you guys know where the Success Center is? Sort of. Let me tell you one more time. It's in this building. Well, it's in the library on the 2nd floor. You go in, you look around, and then you see kind of a glassed-in area, I think it is. And you go in there, and there's kind of a separate room, and there's a bunch of tables so they can work kind of together. But there are also tutors who are there and they're for you to use. Okay? They've already been paid. You don't need to worry about that. They get paid whether you show up or not. So you should use it. And I'll have Kate. Kate Sidlar runs the Success Center. They change their name all the time, but the Learning Center, the Success Center, whatever. She'll come visit us and introduce herself and just kind of come have a visit. And she would be a great resource. If you're too scared to come see me about maybe some problems, then you can ask her and she'll know. And so that's good. Let's see. Oh, it wanted to do this link, not the other link. So there's the link to the Success Center. We've got math and science. You can see Josh, but he does kind of more higher level math stuff, so he would be able to help you. But something tells me he'll be busy with other courses. And so I would recommend that you go see Kate if you go see her. But she's there every day. She has her office there and she just hangs out and waits for your questions. And so, like I said, I'll have Kate stop by and introduce herself maybe next week or the following week or something like that. And then you'll know who to look out for. There's also writing help and things like that, right? And so good to know. Aha. Who's feeling good about math? You don't have to answer this, but who's feeling bad about math? Scared about math? No, 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 no. It's okay. Everyone in this class feels bad about math. That's just how this course is. We're not going to watch it. I don't know why I clicked it, but so Angela Duckworth, I shouldn't have clicked that, does this awesome TED Talk on grit, okay? And how there's been a ton of studies on just, who's good at math. Well, it turns out nobody's good at math. It's just, you have to work at it, okay? And so I find that video, it's really short. It's only like 7 minutes or something. But it's really inspiring. Just kind of like, I can do it, right? And so that's a good feeling. And so you can watch that if you'd like, or don't. Doesn't matter to me. Okay. Oh, I can tell I haven't talked all summer. I've talked, but not like this. Not to a room. I've blabbed a lot. I have posted, I'm not 100% sure I'm allowed to do this. We're using an open source textbook, so I feel like I'm kind of safe. I posted, then I added some, anyways, pretty much the textbook that we'll be using, I'll add a chapter to this one, but so it's just a PDF, and I took out any chapters that we're not covering, okay? So it's just, the things that we'll be covering. Okay? I don't love this textbook, but if we have a textbook, I like to follow it pretty closely. And so, because as a student, I always found it really frustrating when profs would be like, oh yeah, this is the textbook, but actually here we're just gonna do all this other random stuff. Very confusing. And so we're gonna follow the textbook very closely. There's a couple of chapters that we'll skip, like I said, but in general, right, you can read ahead. Wow. No. Yes, you can. You can read ahead if you want to. In fact, I encourage it. And there's no better time than now to commit to doing that, right? because it's the beginning of the term, it's September, it's not even January, you're not tired from the whole term, you're fresh. You're gonna really nail it this term, right? So you're gonna read ahead. And so, well, I don't need to show you the textbook quite yet, you'll see it, but, and I haven't done much, but today, September 3rd, week 1, easy. Introductions, they're happening right now. I know. I don't make you introduce yourself, but if you want to introduce yourself later, you can. But I don't like to do my name is blah, blah, blah. You just need to know my name. So we're doing introductions, that's easy. And then on Monday, we're gonna do section 1.1 and 1.2. And then on Wednesday, we're gonna do section 1.3. So for each week, I'll outline what we'll be doing, right? So that you can kind of be prepared for each of those sections, potentially. Now, the reason I would love for you to read ahead is not so that you can know it in advance, right? It's just so that you've seen it once, okay? So even if it makes no sense at all the first time you're reading it, right? At least you've seen it, okay? And then when I say it, you start to kind of fill in the gaps, right? And then when you do your homework and you have to reread the whole section again, and none of it makes sense, or something like that, right? Then you slowly start to build on that, okay? And so what I find if you've read it, even if it makes no sense, right? Then when I say it, if it's the second time, that's a lot better than if I say it and it's the first time, right? Because then you're kind of behind already, okay? And so just kind of keep that in mind to motivate you. Now for each chapter, so I work on my iPad, obviously, and I post the notes that we write together after class, and so you'll have those afterwards, but also so that you have some sort of guideline of what we'll be doing in class. And like I said, this is exactly from the textbook. So we'll just kind of work through the textbook together, right? Nothing crazy, right? And so, but I'll talk around it and kind of, explain the textbook to you. And so I left a little bit of space to work through some of these examples together. And this is all of chapter 1, right? And so there's a lot of notes here, or a lot of spaces, but just so you know what we will be talking about in class and filling in, okay? Oh yeah, so here, this one's not visible to you, but this is from last term. Oh no, I'm giving away my joke. Don't look at this. Don't look at this yet. That's a joke for Monday. So just filling in some notes and just kind of things I want to add, right? Talking around it. Okay, so I'll post those after class. Homework. I'm still sort of undecided because how I did it last term, it was my first time teaching this course in a long time. It's kind of clunky and I didn't love it, but I think it works. So I might be lazy. Just keep it the same. Oh, this is just a link. Okay, now I remember. You see the problem with working on the iPad is I don't have a pointer until I'm in my note-taking app. But so here, this is just a link to that section of the textbook So you wanna have kind of a quick access to the correct section, and then the exercises. Okay. I've made solutions to the odd exercises, which means what? You submit the even exercises. Okay. And so for each section, you're going to submit a PDF of your written work. Okay. It's for completion only. Okay. But of course, then I can kind of keep tabs on how you're doing and how things are looking. Okay. And so it's kind of nice for me. I just have to change the due dates. It's not due in January, so I have to do that, and then they'll be visible to you. But in general, right, just work through the even questions, like any textbook. The even question usually has a matching odd question. I've posted the odd solutions because there are no solutions in the textbook, so I made them. And if you find any errors, let me know. Good job. It's possible. Possible. And so on and so forth. So let's see here. Any questions before I go to the course outline? I'm just gonna be so quick now. Oh, I'm going to this one instead. It's the same one, just so I can write in it. So usually I start here, and that's why I put my cell in here, but whatever. Same information, right? Did the talk about the texting, blah, 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 blah. And, oh, I guess I should say, don't call me. My ringer's never on, but also I won't pick up. And no, it's weird. You can text me. That's good. You made it here. Now I have a pointer in here. And so you know where we are. I was expecting more people, so I feel like maybe they missed it. And it's also the first week of classes, which is kind of. Did you guys read this flashy course description? That's a high bar, right? Do you want to do all these cool things? Well, like learn the basics of all those cool things. How about that? Some of those, like how can I beat the odds to win in Las Vegas? That's actually kind of difficult. Surprise. So, but anyways, kind of a fun course description. But the general idea with this course is just to give you some breadth of math, right? Some math skills that might be useful in life or to graduate. Who's in their last semester? I know, so much communication that I got was like, I have to take this course because I'm in my last semester and I have to get out of here. So I know you needed to graduate, right? And so let's see here. Transfer, hopefully you've got that all sorted out. It should transfer to any finite math course. Okay? And so, like I said, I already showed you. So if you want the full textbook, there's a link here to the textbook that we'll be using. But like I said, I posted the PDF of just the sections that we'll need. But if you wanted to go further, you can. In terms of course content, it's kind of a weird course because there's a lot of little topics. So what I say to you is if you don't like a topic, don't worry, it'll soon be over and we'll be on to something completely different, which is too bad if you like a topic. But, right? And so, so there's a lot of different little topics, and which is fun. But like I said, exposure to a lot of things. We will. I decided to sneak in matrices this term. Might be ambitious. I might not do that. But it sounds cool, right? A matrix. Matrix. So, linear equations, potentially matrices. Like I said, I'm still kind of lukewarm. We'll see how the schedule plays out. I love linear optimization. So fun. We'll do sets and counting and probability, and then financial math, and potentially logic. Maybe. Logic sounds easy, but has anyone done a logic course? Like a psychology, they love logic, or philosophy, they do a ton of logic. It's actually really hard. So that's why I put a little star there, just in case. Let's skip it. Learning outcomes won't make any sense now, but they are really good for studying for the final exam, right? Oh, these are the things Emily's been told I need to know. She probably has to test me on it at some point. And so these things are kind of a good guide for the final exam. Some of those I'll say, oh, don't worry about that one, right? But we'll go through the learning outcomes closer to the final exam. Oh, the final exam. Ugh. It'll be December. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. We'll remember this day, 30 degrees, beautiful sunshine. We should be at the beach. Shouldn't be here. I'll hurry up. Although I do have the gift of gab, so I can talk for a lot. Assignments. You'll be doing a lot of assignments, right? And like I said, they're completion only. So if you submitted it and it looks, complete, or like you put in some effort, I'll give you 1 out of 1. If you didn't submit it, 0 out of 1. I know, it's on a 0-1 scale. Otherwise, it's too hard for me. Too much work. Test 1, 20%, test 2, 20%, final exam, 40%. Then you're out of here. Hey. Oh, you know what? This is a copy pasta situation. I'm not doing quizzes. The person I stole the course outline from does quizzes. Mandatory attendance. And in case it wasn't clear, attendance is not mandatory, right? The only thing I care about is that you're learning the material. I don't care how you do that, right? And so I would say coming to class is among the better ways to do that, right? But if you're able to handle it on your own and you can get through it and you're still surviving and you're doing well, who am I to say? You're doing it. That's great, right? And so attendance is not mandatory, but it is fun when you show up. So keep that in mind. For me, got some holidays, which is always the first thing I do, right? Start of a new term, I put in all the holidays. It's important, right? You don't want to get caught coming here when you don't have to. There is one day, and it's probably the most boring day on here. So we've got, well, we've done a lot of these already here. That's a holiday, no classes, classes begin, blah, blah, blah. Last day to register, well, you're already registered, refund, blah, 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 blah. September 30th doesn't affect us, it's a Tuesday, doesn't matter to us. October 13th does affect us, no class, obviously, for Thanksgiving. Now, the one I was gonna highlight is this one. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like it's not common knowledge that if you withdraw with a W, it doesn't affect your GPA. Whereas if you keep going and you fail, right, it does affect your GPA. So by October 24th, you'll have a really good idea of where this course is headed, right? Everyone has a bad term. And I'm sorry if this is your bad term, it happens to everyone, okay? And so, right, then you need to make a decision, and you need to make a smart decision, right? Be strategic about it. And so this date is a good one to keep in mind, okay, October 24th, because if you withdraw, then you just get a W, it doesn't affect you, right? Whereas if you kept going and you're not able to pass, then it affects your GPA, right? So that's that. And then on to brighter things. We get another Monday off, a freebie, and Tuesday. Wow. So Monday affects us. And then the last day of class is December 5th. And what I love this year is the final exam period ends on the 18th. That's so early. Awesome. Awesome. So, cool. Okie dokie, artichoke. Any questions? No. These department policies are auto-generated, so I don't care about most of them. Blah, blah, blah. I do not give makeup exams, okay? And the reason for that is for one of your tests, so we have 2 tests, yeah. For one of those tests, the lower one, I'll shift the weight to the final exam, assuming your final exam is better, okay? And the reason I do that is because I don't care if you were sick or you were gonna pretend to be sick or whatever, because you're just not prepared, right? So your lowest test, I will shift it to the final exam. So then your final exam is worth 60% instead of just the 40. I only do that once you've written the final exam. What's the logic there? Hope. Hope is so important, right? You're allowed to have a bad test. It's okay. As long as you learn from it and you can improve and you can really nail it on the final exam and get it on the final exam, that's the goal, right? That's what I want, right? And so to encourage that, right, I'll shift your lowest test weight to your final exam, once you've written the final exam. And so that just kind of hopefully keeps you motivated to keep going for the final exam. Okay? And so if you miss a test, that will be your lowest test weight, right? And so it doesn't matter if you were sick or your car broke down or whatever, you don't even have to let me know, right? You can just not show up, right? Doesn't matter to me. I'll be worried about you. Hey, blah, blah, blah is supposed to be here and they're not here. But it's okay, right? Maybe you're sick or whatever. And so, but one thing I will say, even if you're feeling unprepared for a test, that happens, right? Things heat up, and you're busy, and blah, blah, blah. Right? Even if you're feeling like, oh, this test is not, it's not gonna go well, I think it's a lot better to write it, okay? Have it go not well, or maybe it goes well, maybe you can pull it off, right? That would be exciting, right? But without the pressure of it counting towards your final grade, right? You can still sit down and write it. And there's so much value in you seeing those test questions, right? And knowing how you kind of dealt with those test questions in a test situation. It's different, right? If I'll hand out the tests afterwards. You can look at them, you can keep them and whatever. But that's different. That's not as stressful, right? So having that testing situation is going to be good, right? Because then it'll happen again on the final exam. But you'll be prepared. Yeah? So I don't offer any sort of makeup tests. It's also so that I can mark tests right away and kind of return them and get them out of my life. But that's just me. This one is important. On the final exam, you have to get at least 45% in order to be able to pass, right? Assuming that you've got assignment grades and test grades that let you pass, right? But you have to get at least 45%. Now, let's do, and that's a math policy. So let's do a thought experiment. Because usually, when I say 45%, even I'm like, oh, that's so mean. But what if I said you have to pass the final to pass the course? Well, that's normal. That's fine. That's perfectly reasonable. But that's 50%. This is lower. Isn't that interesting? I think that's interesting. Because to me, I'm like, 45%? Are you kidding me? But I used to say, oh, you have to pass the final to pass the course. That's normal, right? Anyways, just something to think about. My trusty calculator. You can use any calculator. I have this one, it's old. I think the one that the new version has green buttons instead of blue. Something like that. Maybe gray buttons. I think I saw at Costco they had calculators on sale. I was tempted to pick one up and I still might. I don't know. See how good it is? Any sort of scientific calculator is good. You don't want to have one of those like little tiny ones, right? Those are just going to slow you down. But any calculator, as long as you have a calculator, you'll be fine. Huh? Blah, blah, blah. I will give you a formula sheet. Okay. So you'll have a formula sheet. I'll give it to you in advance, right? So you'll know what formulas you'll have. And so you can study with that. But I don't like to do it on the first day because then you get scared.
Will the formula sheet be allowed with us on the test?
Yes. Yeah. So I'll give you your own copy that you can study with. And then for the tests, I'll bring fresh copies so that I don't have to check them all and stuff like that. So you'll have fresh copies. You don't have to worry about bringing them. You'll have them. Okay. ChatGPT, etc. Man, what a pickle. Actually, I don't think so. I think we should use AI. However, I also think we all know what's appropriate and what's not, right? We all know, okay? And in your heart, that's for the recording. I was tapping at my heart. Well, I guess your heart's like here. I take here. I want you to use AI, but I want you to use it responsibly. I don't think it's going anywhere. That's crazy to think, right? In fact, if we're not encouraging you to, this is my opinion, I guess, but if we need to encourage you to use it so that you don't get out there and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so things you can try, right, is you can take a question from the textbook that you're working on, right? And you can say, hey, can you make me a similar question, right, with solutions, things like that. And that might be helpful, right? We're not doing crazy math. So for kind of upper level stuff, it screws up all the time. It does it really, really badly. But for this stuff, it should be reasonable. Don't trust it 100%, right? You can always ask me, hey, does this look right to you, right? Sometimes I just make stuff up, as you know, right? So can't trust it completely, but I do encourage you to use it. And if there is any cool AI that you're using, I'd love to hear about it, right? I'm not as cool as I once was, so I'm not really like in the know anymore. Like to think I'm pretty hip, but no. So if there's any neat tools out there, let me know. That's cool. Policies, blah, 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 final exams. There are rules for having an out-of-time final exam. Usually it doesn't apply, but you have to have it approved and all those things. So if that applies to you, then we can work through that. But in general, right, don't cheat and be nice to each other and be nice to me. It's a summary of those policies. There are lots and lots of resources available to you, right? And so these guys are also changing their name all the time. I don't think it's called disability access. Anyways, there's counseling, right? And the
I think it's just accessibility services.
right? Yeah. Yeah, we dropped the disability. It's just access. Okay. So they help you with things like if you need a reading aid and things like that, or if you need extra time on a final or on a test, that type of thing. It has to be approved by them. It doesn't go through me at all. I just get a letter saying, hey, this person gets this. But if that's something that you think you might benefit from, then you can go talk to them. And they're in the S building by the pit there. Okay. We did it. And usually I have a list of things that I need to talk about, but I didn't bring it. So any questions? How are we doing for time? Oh, almost an hour. That's a long time for a course outline day. Anything I can think of? No. Any questions? Yeah.
Yes, is it okay if I do it on my iPad and submit it that way?
Totally. Yeah. So for the assignments, you'll have to submit it as one PDF. So as long as you can generate a PDF, right? Then that's awesome. And if you're working on paper, then everyone has a scanning app, right? I like Scannable, but now they make you pay for it. I don't do that. So now I'm on Genius Scan. It's not as good, but it's fine, right? And so just make sure you know how to scan a single PDF, right? All the pages have to be in one, ideally in order, right? Questions in order so that I can just scroll through them quickly, make it easy for me. Yeah, but just a single PDF, you upload that, and then you're done. Nice. And yeah, iPad, awesome. That's what I work on. Any other questions? No. With that, I release you, and I'll see you on Monday. Enjoy the beach. Enjoy the weekend.